Michelangelo was born on March 6, 1475 in a town named Caprese, located in the center of Italy. Let me zoom in right there. Right there. Michelangelo was not the first but the second child of his household. At such a young age, Michelangelo began to demonstrate greater interest in art than in the school. His father agreed for the Florentine painter Domenico Ghirlandaio to apprentice him when he was 13 years old. At the age of 14, he was recommended by Ghirlandaio to move to the palace of the Medici family and Florentine ruler Lorenzo the Magnificent. During his time period at the palace, he interacted with the higher social class of Florence as well as learned humanists. He was also exposed to corpses, which later helped him create the muscular features in his art. Michelangelo relocated to Florence, where he created a Cupid sculpture that had artificially aged. Cardinal Riario of San Giorgio bought the Cupid and was extremely impressed with Michelangelo's art. He was so impressed that he even invited Michelangelo to Rome, where he would live a great part of his life. Well, what about the work, you may ask? Mr. Forti explicitly told us to talk about it during our presentation. Well, in Rome, Michelangelo created the Pieta. The Pieta was a sculpture of Mary holding the dead Jesus across her lap. At the time, the church began to pay artists in order for them to create religious work. They wanted to spread religious influence as it was fading during the Renaissance. His sculpture stood out from the rest because it was multi-figured as well as a unified composition. In 1499, Michelangelo returned to Florence, where he began to work on an unfinished sculpture named David. The completed work of art depicts David thinking, a pose that reflects the Greek and Roman impact on Michelangelo. The Greek theme of the heroic male standing nude is represented through the statue as a Renaissance interpretation.
Michelangelo was a brilliant artist, not a Turk. His most famous works include the marble masterpiece statue of David, and of course, the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. Yes, this too was created by the tortured genius Michelangelo, but even this great artist needed help to carry out his vision.
As this short clip illustrated, the Sistine Chapel is one of Michelangelo's greatest artworks. Through his final work, we can see Christian symbology, prophecy, and humanist principles that he absorbed during his youth. The most recognized piece of art in the Sistine Chapel is the creation of Adam. Through this piece of work, we can see God reaching towards Adam, and we can see that he is inside of a brain. This representation of God in a brain while reaching for Adam is depicting that men have their own power of thinking and knowledge. This makes the creation of Adam a secular drawing, which represents the ideology of the Renaissance and promotes people to think. Not only did Michelangelo place a secular drawing inside a church, but he also created a blend of physical realism and psychological insight, which shaped the Renaissance as well as today's world.